So we'll start with the form. What I want to do with this is a short form. It should be fairly easy to learn. What we'll do is we'll take pieces of it at a time, and we'll partner up and do stuff like that. Work on some man-to-man drills on that, and try to build the form that way and make it where we can remember it and understand it. So as far as the ray goes, if everybody will just kind of stand it. This is called an infinite stance. That's what we call this. And in karate we call this ready stance. But it's infinite stance. The difference between this and karate, I'll point out some differences, and I think this is going to help you guys as far as not necessarily transition, because a lot of you already are studying Kung Fu, but those that do the karate part of it, the aspects of it, it's going to help you learn flow. Because you yourself know that if we're doing stuff like tenno, everything's got that good sharp pop. This one doesn't. This one has flow to it. Okay, so we move like this. So when we come into our ready position or our infinite stance, this is a relaxed stance. Even though I'm standing, looks like at attention, my knees are actually relaxed a little bit. They use this same stance. I think they call it empty stance in Tai Chi. Now the thing about the internal arts like Tai Chi and things like that, they do have a direct tie to Chun Li. In talking to Grandmaster Phipps over the years, he said if you're studying that, there's some roots in Tai Chi and some of the internal arts like Bagua, Hissing Yi, that are actually tied in with the Chun Li system. So you need to get in your infinite stance. This stance you can stand in for a while if you like, just to kind of get the feel of things, just the relaxation of the movement. Okay? So we start the form right here. The ray or the salutation, the word ray I showed you, the salutation, it just comes in, circles back out into a 7-star stance like this, and then hands go back to back. We step back, circle that in, palms are open, and then circles overhead and presses down. Now rays are always, or salutations are always good little movements. Nobody pays any attention to them. We're going to go on about to the form. But ray or salutation always has meaning, okay? So we know that this right here, this first salutation is Chinese, is from the era of the sun and moon palm. We know that these movements can be applied as far as self-defense techniques, grabbing, locking, whatever. This movement is also can be used to grab or lock, different things like that. But there's also energetic movements in the first part of this. When I do things like this, we come down through the middle. This movement is called sinking the chi. This is also a movement that we study when we look at we'll look at the breathing pattern stuff tomorrow. We'll use this movement. So this actually helps settle ourselves right here. So let's do this movement together. We'll get in our ready stance. Okay, come back, circle back to your right and out in front. Hands palm back to back. Step back, circle in, open the palms, and then over the head and come down. Okay, all right. So the first official movement of the form is we're going to step out into a stance called a bear stance. A little bit different than what we see in a lot of stuff is riding stance. We'll see this riding stance. It's a little lower, a little wider. Bear stance is not. It's not quite as deep. It's more shallow, and it's more shoulder width apart. So from here, after we do our salutation, we sink just slightly and bring this foot up, step it out, and then that's our bear posture. Okay? So if any of you study Tai Chi or anything, any arts like that, you'll see the similarities between the movement as you step out into this movement. The next movement we'll go to is called chicken stance. Okay, so we've got chicken stance, and we also move our palm at the same time. This is called high waving palm. Okay, so we go from here, from our bear stance, chicken stance, high waving palm. Okay, so let's go over that salutation in this first movement, and then we're going to partner up and we're going to play with that first movement for just a few minutes. Okay, so we're in our infinite stance. Okay, circle back and out. Palms back to back, step back, palms open, Circle over the top, down through the center. Step out to the side in a bear stance, high waving palm, and chicken stance. Okay. All right. So find your partner. Find a partner. Just partner up with anybody, and we're going to go over that real quick. Find somebody close to your sides.
Where's the sides?
Nick, you want to come over here, maybe? Okay. Okay. Has everybody got a partner? You good? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna start. If you don't have a partner, you're just out of luck. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. So one thing about our first stance is that if she was to hit me, to come in as a straight hit right here. If I stand here, I'm gonna get hit, right? So this first stance, this chicken stance, is a very simple thing, but all it does is it shifts. It allows me to shift to one side, out of the path of that strike. So the first rule in martial arts is what? Don't get hit, right? So this hand guides. That's all this high waving palm is doing. Is you're here, just like this. What we want to do when we use this, when we apply this high waving palm, you'll see I'm kind of shooting right around her elbow area, this area right here. If I shoot here, she's going to draw back. I'm going to miss. She's going to hit me again. Okay, so I want to not necessarily lock, but I want a little bit of control with this movement, with this inside high waving palm. Okay, so the hit comes across, we'll do this. Okay, and we try it on both sides. We hit the other way. Boom. So this is what I want you to do. Play with that just a minute. Just step aside. It doesn't have to be big steps. I want it to be a small step, like that. Okay, so we're here in front of our face. So don't go over here and way over here like this. Go ahead, try that some. Okay. So the chicken stance actually steps. It's not like a cat stance or anything. It steps to the instep of your foot, just to the instep. This foot stays planted. Move to the side. All right. So one thing about this is a good starting position for partner training, drill training. Some of you guys that teach school. What I like to call this in this form is an inserting move. So it's the first move. We insert this move to go to whatever's next. One thing, and my students have heard this story more than once, is I learned when I was 14 years old, I learned how to do a rising block, high block. Cool thing, I practiced that a lot. I ended up getting in a little scuffle, and I got to apply that rising block. And I'm like, wow, it works. Bam! so you got an inserting move, you got your first move, but you got to have something to follow it up. Something has to come in behind it. There's always something coming in behind. So any move that we do can be what's termed as an inserting move. We'll do this as one. We may do the next move that I'm going to show as another inserting move. And you can do different things that branch out from that. That's what makes this short little form not necessarily broad this way, but deep this way. So we can apply it in a lot of different ways. The next move that we're going to do after we're from our bear stance, we come up with our chicken stance and our high waving palm. And we're going to do a palm that comes up and circles out, comes out and steps back, pulls down and presses. The stance. All these stances have a little different name than what you're used to. I know that guys that practice the karate or something like that, they have a couple stances here. They have a back stance or forward lean stance, back stance, different things like this. This particular stance right here is called a my mind goes blank at times. Pay that no attention. It's eagle stance. Eagle stance. So we come back. The eagle stance actually comes back to the side and steps off a little bit. There's a little bit of angle to the foot. But what we'll be doing here is guiding our opponent back. Because you got your opponents coming in with force. And what we're going to do is we're going to let that force come by us. Push it right by us like so. That means if you come forward. So from here, the punch comes in. We step into our chicken stance. Our hand palm circles to the outside and comes up here. This is called a grabbing palm or dragging palm. We come here, grab here, step back, and press. So she's coming in with force, so she's got forward movement. And I'm just going to take her the rest of the way. I'm going to guide her that way. So if I come in with a stance that just stops, I'm stopping my force here. I don't want my force to stop as she comes in towards me. I want her to go past me, like so, okay? Try that. Go ahead and take a few minutes to partner up, see how you feel about that. All right, guys, we'll move to the next movement, okay? So we put these movements together, and I like to call them sets. You know, you can, instead of just doing the whole form and trying to string the whole form through, there are parts you can put together with this that are sets of movements. You have your entry movement, this here. Well, I got to do something from here, right? So my next movement is I've got that pressing palm here. This is my lock that I'm holding this in place. The next movement I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a palm heel or punch, whatever we want to put in here. The form shows a forward palm heel strike. It goes from our eagle stance to what is referred to as a snake stance. Now you see I'm up on my toe here. There's a spiraling motion. It's like boom, it comes through. Any kind of motion comes from the earth, works its way through the leg, through the torso, and out energetically here. Okay? I didn't make that up. It's been around for a long time, and the annals of Tai Chi, if you look at the Tai Chi classics, they will refer to all energy comes from the earth, through the leg, through this, and out to the palm. So we're going to do, and I know that a lot of us have not heard some of these terms before, some of these palm terms or kung fu terms, and this doesn't seem to be a snake stance to some of you. Some of you know, you see snake stance as this, but in some of our arts and things like that. But it's called that because of the spiraling motion that comes up from the ground, through the body, and out through the striking surface. So when we come here, we came up with a chicken stance, high waving palm, circling palm, dragging palm, press palm, step forward, palm strike with a snake stance. Okay? So one cool thing about this little motion here, this set, is once we come up, we hit here, and we come back here, she's already there. All right, there's my target. That's all I got, bam, and there's my target. Okay? So, any questions on that?
Yes, sir.
Let's try it. I think that's the best way for us to learn these forms is try it. Don't hit your opponent in the in the side of the head too much. You know, pull that just a little bit.
The keyword is too near. Okay.
Okay, guys. All right. So this is pretty simple stuff. The thing of it is the devil's in the details on a lot of this stuff. Like we were talking about, you know, you're used to practicing a form as step 1, step 2, step 3, and it's hard to take it and break it down. That's why I like to say this is the first set, because it doesn't go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It goes step 1. It flows through. And there's a lot of circular movements in here. Even sometimes the circular movements are really subtle. So if I've got a circular movement, this is a big circular movement. You see that? But do you see this one back here? There was one back here too. As it comes here, little circle. This is a trick with this. Anytime we grab, we tend to be like a monkey in a jar. He sticks his hand in the jar to get the fruit, and he closes his fist. He can't get his fist out of the jar. So we're doing a grabbing here, or dragging palm is what this is called. But we got to be able to turn loose. So on this circle, you have to relax and let it flow and circle back up to your strike. Very fast, very powerful strike. Once you get here, right here. One cool thing about this, calling each one of these movements an entering move, is I don't necessarily have to start out like this. I can start out like this. This hand can come up, circle around. Does this hand have to be here? It helps. Mother, child. It helps to lock, to guide. But does it have to be? Boom. There's your strike. Circle. Boom. There's your strike. Okay? So any of these moves, like I say, you can enter and move here, enter and move here, enter and move here. But what we want to try not to do is have so many straight line attacks. So it's hard to have a straight line attack with a palm. I've got limited energy. When I put that little circle in there, I'm gathering energy. So I'm gathering. It's subtle. It's very subtle. because I can't take time together. I just have to know it's there. Because it's hard to get in an altercation or fight or anything like that and say, wait just a minute and let me gather my chi. Won't happen that way, right? Okay. All right, so that's the first sequence of the form. So we can do these movements right here, good partner drills, right? And the second sequence we're going to step into for the form, after we do high waving, circling, strike, we're going to step with a cross stance here and do this kind of palm movement. It's called hooking crane, outside hooking crane palm, and press and side palm strike. So that's the next sequence.
And you back up just a little bit, but try to do that again. There you go.
Okay, all right. So from this movement, this is our first part of the form. Here, strike. The next sequence, cross step, hooking crane palm, press palm, strike. So what we want to do, partner back up. I know you're having a partner and stuff, starting a lot, but it'll help a lot in this. The hooking crane. This also, the reason I've kind of separated this into sequences is for this reason.
It's almost
Here.
After it is, hold on just a second, guys. Let me go over this real quick. Throw something in so he'll be quiet. So the hooking crane is just this, it's circling, okay? So we're going to circle the arm. We're not grabbing on this movement. All we're doing is manipulating. Boom, like here. Okay? So this one, if we use this hooking crane movement, is our entering move very fast. Come around this way. It comes in, hook. There it is, right there. Really fast movement. So I'm using this to manipulate. So it's not just a outside block like this or anything. It's got that hooking action. See how my pinky kind of hooks over and guides that, and then I lock here. This is my locking palm. It circles back up and strikes. Try that. Please don't hit each other. This is a very fast move. You do it fast, it's easy. Go bam, oops, sorry. All right, guys, how's everybody feel about that so far? Hey! Good job. All right. Am I at the right line? These sequences, the reason I broke it down into sequences that I mentioned you guys back there in the back, is this is not necessarily a form that goes bam, 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 that's the way you got to fight through it. This second sequence can be the entering move, that you're starting to fight. Here comes a fist. Do I have to start this way? No, I have to start this way. Yes, I can start this way. I can start this way. Any way I can get in from this range to close range. It's a close range. That's why it's called clinging crane. Because you're right here, it's a close range space, and you're trying to get into where you need to be. You're trying to enter in. So that's why these entering moves are labeled as such. We'll come across, and remember, don't get hung up on these stances. What I'd like you to do is flow. So if this hand moves, this foot moves. It's not like 1, 2. It's like, holy moly, I don't want to get hit, right? It's not like 1, 2. This is a step. It's the same thing as going 1, 2, 3. Okay? So still a step. All we're trying to do is get around our opponent a little bit by taking that little cross step. So it's just a movement. That's all it is. Stances are that. Stances are movements. Stances normally are not rooted. The ones that are rooted, that are absorbing energy, still have movement in them. It's like with this form. This looks like a rooted stance, but the movement is here. This looks like a rooted stance, but the movement is here. So there's always movement in these stances. We're going from one to the other. But we've got to remember that we've got to work the upper body and the lower body together. So when we have a movement or something like that. Like I said, once you get used to this, these are easy movements. But once you get used to that, it's really, really fast. And your opponent's like, you know, they've been hit before they really know what's happening. But then you got to decide what to do next. There's always other things that you can put in here. We're teaching a form, but there's always insertions of what you know how to do that you can put within the form. So let's do this. Let's go through the whole thing up to that point as a form together and see if we got it from here. So we're going to start off with the infinite stance. relaxed position. Okay. Salutation, circle back, out. Palms back to back, circle back. Palms are open in the front. Circle down through the center. Step out into a bear stance. High waving palm as you step into your chicken stance. Palm comes up, circles down, grabs and presses. Snake stance, come up and strike. Next step, cross step. Outside hooking crane, press, strike. And we'll go ahead and go to the next movement. So we're going to step back into a cat stance here and do a high waving palm and a low press palm. Okay? Let's do that once again. We can flow from one part to another at this point and get it pretty good. You guys can take some time if you want to. If you see something you want to stop and want to work on some of these movements, we will. But I might skip over some also. So we're going to go through the form one more time. I want everybody to know it when they leave here and have it to be part of what they do. Okay? So we're in our stance, infinite stance. Okay? Step out, ready? Palms back to back. Circle down, circle over the top. Step out in the bear. Inside chicken stance, high waving. Circle up, press and drag. Strike forward as you step into your snake stance. Don't forget that little twisty snake stance down at the bottom, where the heel comes up off the floor like mashing a bug. Okay, step across. Looking crane, press, strike. Step back into your cat, high waving palm, and here's a low strike down here. From here, we're going to step back into rising sword palm and a dragon stance. So we're going to come up, enter in, like so. We've got a palm strike here, and we follow through with our guard here. Okay? Good. How's that feel so far? We're going to keep going with the form. Okay? Start again. This is the only way I know to teach a form is just to do it over and over and over again. So we will repeat this a few times. If you get a copy of the booklet, it'll help you to remember, as well as these videos will help you to remember. So we got a lot of good stuff to work with here. Okay? Am I in a good spot?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Infinite stance. All right. Salutation. Circle back and out. Hands palm back to back. Circle around, down through the center. Step across, bear stance. High waving palm, chicken stance. Circle, dragon palm, press. Snake stance, strike. Step across, hook, press, strike. Step back in your cat, high wave, strike here. Circle up, back in your dragon. And from here, we're going to come back into a side palm strike. Okay? Good. All right. Who knows it so far? You do it? Yeah. Let's go through. We're still going through the form. We're going to add a step each time. Ready stance or infinite stance. Step back as we do our salutation. Palms back to back, stepping back, circle down, over the top, down through the center. Step out in a bear, high waving, chicken stance, circling palm, dragon press, palm heel strike, step across, hook, press, strike, step back, high wave, low strike, circle up, grab, rising sword palm, palm heel strike, and from here we're just going to do a little kick. Then we're going to do another strike here, straight ahead palm strike with a second. Then we're going to do a little movement, or a little circular movement here, and do what this is called guiding palm. Okay, so let me take just a minute to demonstrate that last little movement there. Nah, I'll try not to. Let's go here. Okay, so this what we're going to do is a movement called circling palm. I think that's what it's called. If it's not, it's in the book, but I can remember there. Okay, so we're just wrapping around. Our guiding palm motion is here. Okay, so from this motion here, this is a very good place. You know, this is an arm bar, this is a brake, this is, I'm moving her around because we're coming here and we're coming through. The next movement's gonna be a strike. Okay? So try that. So all I want you to do is come around, come across the top, circle around, hit the arm, and guide at this end. Come into my hip. That's right. You want to bring her down low to here. Okay, to this position, and then we got her strike. Partner up. Because I forgot the name of my own technique. This technique is called threading palm. And you need to come back forward just a minute, please, man. Okay. So what we want to do here is we want our defensive part of this movement needs to be here. Needs to be not here, and not worried about the grab so much. Just worry about this. And the grabbing part of it just it happens. Okay. So I'm not worried about doing this. I'm worried about this. And actually, I grab a little bit, but this is also can be a hook. So all I'm doing is just once I bring it next to my body, this hooks here. Okay. So, but you want to come up and start here. You don't want to start here because if she's really smart and and movement wise, boom, she can just fold that arm, step in, and caught me right there. Okay. So we want to stop that movement up here towards the arms. It circles, threads, and locks. Okay. Which leads right into our next movement. I'll go ahead and do that while she's here. So the next movement of the form is a crane's head strike. It's just a back palm. So we come in here, bam. Look at that. Look at that target right there. This is if it's done properly, that's the end of the fight anyway. We can stop the blood flow. You know, this is a good place for a knockout strike. So it's just coming in with our crane beak head right here. Very powerful strike. Okay. All right. Get in front of the camera. Threading palm, guiding. So what we're doing is we're taking our opponent and we're just letting them bring their energy to us, and we're just following it. Is all we're doing. We're not trying to jerk them around and put them where we want to. We're just guiding them where they should be and setting them up for the next strike. Because once you come here, thread, guide, there's our target, strike. And there's a lot of targets right in here, as we all know, because you got the temple here, the ear, the jaw, the vagus nerve, the vein, all this stuff right here is good spots to hit. A lot of martial arts that they teach, how do you get to this? Because this is what we're looking for, is our striking part. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Everybody kind of halfway good on that?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna forget a lot of it. That's why we've got the things we've got. So I'm really happy with that. Let's go ahead and go through the form to that point, and then we'll step on into the next part of the form, and we'll get closer to the end. Okay? So, infinite stance, salutation, arms back to back, circle out and down, circle over the top. Step out, bear stance, high waving palm, circle around, dragging palm and press, snake stance, palm strike, cross step, hooking crane, press, strike. Step back into your cat, high waving, low strike, step back, rising sword into a dragon stance, step forward, palm strike, side palm strike, kick, threading palm, guiding palm, crane strike. Now we're just going to step up and back into our bear stance, and we're going to take both hands, flatten the top of the knees and circle down. This is kind of like sealing the form, okay? So from this step, we'll do this part, the end of the form together. So once we come here and circle down, press down, we're going to do a press palm with our left hand and a plate palm. This is called plate palm with our right hand. And we'll breathe through that. We'll change the direction. And down here. Then we're going to circle out high. This is a crane spreads its wings high. So this application here, you see this in a lot of, I'm going to come in and grab, well, no you're not. I'm going to separate that and we're going to come in, put whatever we want to do there. So let's go through this part of the form one more time. We're back in our bear stance. We circle the hands down, slapping the top of the legs. Press and rise. Press and rise. crane circles high, come around, crane circles low, spreads its wings low. And then we're going to gather from behind, double press palm forward, and we're going to come up with a movement like this. This is called upturning Phoenix Eye. So this palm movement, we'll stop right here for just a second. These Band-Aids are not going to stick in my hand.
Yeah, sweat.
Might as well stone out. This palm movement is something that's similar to a lot of what we call this a ridge hand in the Chinese Kung Fu stuff, not Kung Fu, but the karate stuff. This is the ridge hand, okay? So it's the same thing. In this style, in this technique, this is called Phoenix Eye. If you look, it looks like the eye of the Phoenix. So we've got Phoenix Eye palm, upturning. So Phoenix Eye strikes can be a lot of different ways, just like ridge hands can be a lot of different ways. This upturning is more of a blocking movement. So we'll do upturning Phoenix Eye, and the next movement circles down and strikes, okay? So we'll go to that. There's a couple of those movements at the end to seal the form. Is once we get here and this double palm strike out, everybody get in this position. We'll do upturning Phoenix Eye, pass the head, or Elvis combs his hair, as I like to call it. We'll come here, circle back down, riding dragon. So we come down, we're coming over, we're gonna grab this upper part of this muscle here as we come back, and then straight palm strike. Very simple movement. So it's upturning Phoenix Eye, riding dragon, straight palm. We'll do that twice on one side, and then twice on this side. Riding dragon, palm. Upturning Phoenix Eye, riding dragon, palm. That's the end of the form, because now we're going to circle out, press down, and do our exiting salutation. Okay? So once more, let's go over that last part of that form and put it all together as a flow, and then we're going to play with that. Just a little, what's my time look like right now?
Just hit an hour.
Just in an hour?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go through this last part of the form. We'll take a little bit of a water break, and then we'll go over some partner drills and some pad drills that we can put some of these movements to, and it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun for your classes. You know, you'll have a good time with that. I hope these guys have a good time with it. I'm teaching online. Sometimes they complain, but I tend
I only get fun. I only get fun.
yeah, I tend to ignore those complaints, so let's do it anyway. Okay. All right. So from here, from our bear stance, circle down, press down the center, press palm, plate palm. Switch, press palm, plate. Circle out, crane spreads its wings high. Circle down, crane spreads its wings low. See, I've got my fingertips out. Gather in behind, double press palm in front. Upturning Phoenix Eye, riding dragon, straight. Upturning Phoenix Eye, riding dragon, palm strike. Other side, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then circle. And right. Okay. So here's my question right quick, before we take a break. You wanna go through the whole form and then take a break? Okay, let's do that. See if we can go through the whole thing. Infinite stance. Okay, salutation. Yeah. Step out. Waving palm, circle, grab, press, strike, step across, hook, press, strike, high low strike, step back, and then strike here, kick, grading palm, guiding palm, crane's beak strike, step out, circle, high low, crane spreads its wings, again, circle behind, double strike, up, cross, press, up, cross, press, again this side, 22 times, up, back, press, circle, and exit salutation. Okay, one more time. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to turn around. That way you get a good shot from what it looks like in this direction, because I really have a hard time if I'm trying to learn a form to try to translate it in my brain. Okay, he was on this side. Which side is that when I'm doing this? It's hard. So what I'm going to do is turn around and we'll go do it one more time. Okay, infinite stance. I can see you guys back there too, by the way. All right, salutation. Step out into bear. High waving palm, chicken stance. Dragon palm press. Palm strike. Step, hook, press, strike. Come back, high palm, low strike. Step back, rising sword. Forward strike, side palm strike. Kick. Grading palm, guiding palm. Crane's head strike. Step forward. Circle down. High low. High low. Out. Low crane. Circle from the back. Double palm strike. Upturning. Riding. Strike. Upturning. Ride. Strike. Same thing here. 2. Strike. Up. 2, 3. Circle. And then exit salutation. Good. Short little form, but if you learn it, there's a lot of stuff in it. And me and Professor Howard talked how deep this form actually goes and how many things are in it. And you can pull out things, you know, like our partner drills. You can pull out line drills. In just a few minutes, we're going to work on some pad drills. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay? Take a break. Come right back in about 5.